Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, today we want to talk about the Day of Judgment. And when we say the Day of Judgment, we also mean the resurrection of our prophets. So the topic of today's discussion is, where are the prophets? They were alive. We know very well. Some were killed, some were buried, some were put into caves. What is going to happen to them? Are they going to remain in their graves, or are they going to be resurrected? Are they going to witness the Lord's court? If yes, how? If yes, then what is the proof? If not, then why? Our respected Dean Mufti Taqi Wazmani, rahimahullah, tried to answer this question in one of his works. Let us listen to what he had to say. The first verse he quoted was from Surah Az-Zumar, verse 16, which goes like this: "And the earth shineth with the light of her Lord, and the book is set up, and the prophets and the witnesses are brought, and it is judged between them with truth, and they are not wronged." One of the companions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by name Mafazil bin Umar, who later became an Imam Jafar, Sadiq alayhi salam, once explained the above verse in the following words: "When the establisher of Lord's government comes, the earth will shine with the light of her Lord, and people will not need the light of the sun. On that day, Allah Almighty will manifest Himself to everyone. Thus, there will be no darkness or shadow. All the prophets will be sent for in that reign. The famous martyrs of every age will also come, and oppressors and oppressed of every ummah will be brought, and their cases will be decided on merit." This was the reason that every prophet time and again made a mention of it, so that his believers should prepare themselves and be not ashamed in the court of Lord. This hadith of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam shows that Allah Almighty has promised to manifest Himself and make His light known to one and all on the Day of Judgment. He further said that the earth would shine on that day with Allah's light, meaning thereby that the sun and the moon would not be needed anymore, because Allah Almighty would be the sole source of light on that day. He said that on that day all the prophets and witnesses would be resurrected, and they would be called to depose in the court of Allah Almighty. This was the reason that every prophet asked, after establishing his mission on earth, informed his followers about this great event so that they should prepare themselves for it and not be ashamed on that day. In addition to the above hadith, another narration from Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam throws more light on the matter. Listen to what he said about the earthquake that would take place on the day of resurrection. It would be so violent that every mountain would crumble except the Kaaba. Then he added, referring to the Holy Quran, that the mountains would rather melt away like wax. It is because the heat generated by Allah's wrath would be so intense that the firmest of things would become liquid. Then he added, quoting a verse from Surah Fussilat, "But as for those in the graves, their term is a night. When the night is past, they are resurrected as another creation, and they are called to ponder over what they used to do. When they are asked to ponder, they say, 'We are young men who were called to our Lord's course so that our status might be determined.' So when the determination was made, we returned to our Lord full of happiness." My dear brothers and sisters, what Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam says here is that those who die will be resurrected on the Day of Judgment, but when they return, they will not have any grave or corpse left behind, because their bodies would have turned into dust long ago. What you see in the grave is nothing but the corpse of the person who died, and when his soul leaves the body turns into dust. But the soul remains until the Day of Judgment. As such, all the prophets told their followers that the bodies of those who died would turn into dust, but their souls would be kept in a safe custody to be resurrected on the Day of Judgment. The promise of Allah Almighty is that nobody would be deprived of his rights on that day. Everything would be given according to what a person deserves. For example, if somebody loses something in this world, if he has a right to it, he would get it on that day. After talking about the resurrection of those who died, let us now discuss those who are still alive on the Day of Judgment. What will be their fate? Will they die before the judgment, or will they witness the Day of Judgment while being alive? Allama Iqbal Rahim writes that when the hour is about to be established, a severe earthquake takes place, because of which everybody falls down except those who are destined to die before the establishment of the hour. Those who fall down are resurrected on the Day of Judgment. Now let us talk about the prophets. According to Islam, there are two types of death: physical and spiritual. Physical death means the separation of the soul from the body. When a person dies, his soul separates from his body, and it is kept in a safe custody until the day of resurrection. Spiritual death, on the other hand, means the separation of a person from the right path shown by Allah Almighty. A person is dead spiritually when he disbelieves in Allah Almighty and His Messenger. As long as a person is alive spiritually, he is alive in the sight of Allah Almighty. And as long as a person is alive physically, he continues to live in the sight of Allah Almighty. But the moment a person dies physically, he dies in the sight of Allah Almighty. If he is dead spiritually, that is, if a believer dies physically, he is still alive in the sight of Allah Almighty, because believers are those who believe in Allah Almighty and His Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and they follow the teachings of Islam. Therefore, the prophets, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, will be taken out of their graves and resurrected on the Day of Judgment, because they are alive spiritually. Not only this, but they will also witness the Day of Judgment. Moreover, The graves of the prophets will be opened on that day, and their corpses will be resurrected. My dear Muslims, the resurrection of the prophets in the time of Lord S. Government is proved from the scriptures of various religions. I am going to quote one such verse from the Bible for your information. It is from Daniel, chapter 12, verses 9. It says, "And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. But go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest, and stand in thy lot at the end of the days." Here in these verses, we see that the words spoken by the angel are closed and sealed until the time of the end. This shows that the scriptures of the Christians themselves prove the resurrection of the prophets. In Holy Quran, the word book has been used in here too. The word book is there. Quran speaks about the just decision, and here also the same has been said. All they that be fat upon earth shall eat and worship. All they that go down to the dust shall bow before him. Thus, the evidence from the Holy Quran and the Bible clearly proves the resurrection of the prophets and the judgment according to deeds on the day of resurrection. With this, we come to the end of today's discussion. Thank you very much for listening to me. I hope that Allah Almighty will enable us to implement what we learn from His words and make us among those who enter paradise. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.